Hey, good afternoon. What's going on with you? You're on with Big J, and we want to talk sports news and information. I'm excited to be on again today. As you saw in our narrative or our title, I want to talk about Bill Cosby again. And let me tell you what I want to talk about Cosby again because I know Kwame Brown has been playing a lot of Judge Joe Brown, and I had to do something, and what I did was I went back and listened to Judge Joe Brown myself because I wanted to get gain a better understanding of Judge Joe Brown. And let me tell you something, I did, and what I heard and what I saw and what I gained from Judge Joe Brown made the Bill Cosby explanation of his quote unquote rape trial and his rape conviction overturned in my own mind. And I want to tell you why. Because this generation wouldn't understand, but coming out of the 70s and the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when there was the love child, flower child, whatever it was called, when they met in New York and they were having those big time sit-ins and everybody was sleeping with each other and you had groupies and you had those type of things, just like it is today. You have rappers who have groupies. And what these groupies do, they'll sleep with the other individuals because it is the right thing to do to become a part of the narrative of what? Rap. Yes. But what I want to show you today is a video. And this video I want to show you is coming from Judge Joe Brown. And the point of I want to show you this video because he says some things that put so much more clarity on what was being talked about Bill Cosby. And I'm not making an excuse for Bill Cosby. I'm not saying he did right. But what I'm saying is when Judge Joe Brown talks, you're going to hear during the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, that was the thing to do because groupies were always found around entertainment. You got to check this out. I'll be right back. Watch this with me. Kind of cold.
No, because the law presumes them innocent until you prove them guilty. It is a specious thing. That's part of this new paradigm where everybody gets a trophy, a participation ribbon. Nobody's feelings get hurt. Freedom of speech gets restricted if somebody feels uncomfortable or undelighted by what is being said. That's not our reality. See, when you have an opportunity to do something about it, do it. And see, most of the people that are off in the penitentiaries are not in there for playing Robin Hood. They rob from their neighbors, burglarize their neighbors, kill their neighbors, rape their neighbors, sold poison to their neighbors. And the other thing is, it's not guns. It's not any excuse. It's we have got a lack of manhood and masculinity in our neighborhoods. See, masculinity is the imposition of a set of behavioral standards on a boy. So when the boy grows into a man, he has some things he has to do that he cannot get away with, that he is compelled to look to, making where he lives a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, morality, and ethics. He is a man of public peace, dignity, and order, who is a man of peace, who can be a brave and courageous man when necessary. See, what about these women being accountable for their own behavior? They were groupies. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, sex, drugs, rap, sex, drugs, baseball, football, basketball, movies, television. See,
Yeah,
it's
but
called
right
being
now
a
I'm talking about Bill
groupie.
Cosby. I'm saying,
We forgot what that term meant. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. The bimbos come to the party, they hang out, they get drunk, they snort lines of blow, and they have a good time. They use the hall closets to give head, the bathrooms to get down, and you go in to get your coat off of the bed, and they're laying on top of it doing somebody. See, that's what that's about.
yeah, but
So I'm gonna go back to the video. But do you see what I'm saying? He went back and he brought the true narrative in about Bill Cosby and everyone in that flower child's group or that age. And what that age was, they did anything. That's when you had the height of diseases coming in the 70s, when everybody was just doing what everybody thought was right, that was sleeping with everybody. So Bill Cosby comes up in that era. I don't know if you guys remember Bill Cosby when he used to play in those movies in the 70s and those particular things. Bill Cosby wasn't no ugly looking dude. And Bill Cosby was also with, now watch this, he was also with the different persuasion of white women, which made him more attractive to black women. There's a whole lot behind this thing. There's a whole lot that we're not really looking at. In the eyes of those individuals who grew up then, he is not guilty. Why? Because the sit in and for groupies and what everybody did was right at that time. Let's go back to
Let's
Judge
not
Joe
get
Brown.
it has to be
sanctimonious
consensual
25,
though.
30, 40, 50 years after something was in big time style. When this stuff started out, the sexual revolution was going on. And a lot of women
Well, so
got into it deeply.
So you see what he said? When this started out, and we forget about that, it was the sexual revolution that was going on. And in Hollywood, if you did not have a name yet, or you were not tied to anybody yet, you did whatever, whenever, just to put yourself in position to be on the big screen. So Bill Cosby was a part of that. Now watch this. If Bill Cosby gave the names of the other men and women who were a part of that, the world would be shocked. The world would be surprised to see this many people who place in those type of things. Watch this. Talk to any well-known rapper. Talk to any person who's in the industry and ask them about groupies. We used to hear that about the rock bands all the time. Them sleeping in their room, girls stayed over. And what was there? Drugs and alcohol. But because this era of these group of individuals did not come up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the love flower child, they see Bill Cosby as a sexual predator, where that was going on with everybody back then. Let me get to some comments. Deacon Matt, what's going on with you, big man? You can come on in, Deacon. Let me put this in the room. Okay, so this is deep. I'm gonna stay into this for a minute. If you're on, you want to come on, I'm putting the link in the room. Come on in. Okay, there's the link. So what did Nine say? Nine says sometimes the truth is the hardest pill to swallow because it puts out the fire while the media wants to keep it burning. Facts, Nine. That's 100% correct. Thank you to all those who are also on Facebook. Listen, we have to understand Bill Cosby was looking at a scene as this predator. But I need you to understand, like he just said, during the sexual revolution, this is what was going on in Hollywood. It was the main thing. And at that time, there were not too many African American people. So when you did get a young African sister who was trying to become a part of it, of Hollywood, guess what she did? I want to fit in. That's right. Hold on, let me go back up here and see what D said. All right, let me start back at the top. He said, Nine says, accept behavior is now criminal behavior. That's right, Nine, and that's my point. That back then was sexual behavior. If anyone remembers that big city in, I forgot what they called it in New York, and that big park where they had everybody there for days at a time, and everybody was just having, I'm sorry, there's no kids on here. That's what I put in my thing. Everybody just had one big orgy. No, wait a minute. Let's go back and arrest all those people. Let's find their names. Let's arrest them for what they're doing, for what they did. I
Hey, what's
believe
going
that's
on,
what we.
bro?
Hey, what's going on with you, big man? Yeah, I
Chilling.
mean,
I'm running around doing some errands and stuff, but I wanted to jump on because this is an interesting topic, man.
yeah, man, because the reality is like Nine just said, man, accepted behavior is now criminal behavior. Because you talked about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm gonna go there in a minute. I'm gonna let you go there. But when you look at this thing, man, it's real important. What they did in the era of Bill Cosby was right in their eyes. They were having sit-ins. That's when you got swinging started. That's when you got orgies started. So for these women to come out now, he just is 80 years old. So that's something not just him, but a lot of people were doing. Go ahead, D. Let me get some
But
more comments.
it's because it wasn't just back then. This is something that's still going on to this very day. It wasn't just back then when they were doing it during that era. This is something that's continually went on. That's why you have Bohemian Grove. Whenever all of the elites meet up and they go out there in California so that they can do all of this stuff unprohibited and unbothered by the public and then go back to their regular life. So this is something that's still going to this very day. And now that it's starting to come out, because like we said, these elites will use that type of stuff to blackmail. That's exactly what Jeffrey Epstein was making millions of dollars off of.
And he
You'll
came
have
and took
these
it.
guys
That's right.
in compromising positions with probably underage girls. They'll get the girls to videotape it and bring it back to him. And now he's getting favors from these people, politicians, stars, whoever it may be. And that's the way that their system works. So if that's the circle that Bill Cosby is in, yeah, man, they trying to single him out, but all of them do that stuff.
But Bill Cosby, he was bigger than this. We got to understand this is before Jeffrey Epstein, Einstein, whatever his name is. And look what Macrina said, which was so true. She said, "So it was the norm." Yes, it was the norm.
Mm-hmm.
It was
It's
a
the norm.
practice in Hollywood. This is what they did. This is how they party. This is where you get the term "the white lady" from. Cocaine. That was, watch this. Cocaine, rich man high. It was a rich man's drug. That's where it came from. It didn't come from a group of people who said, "Let's go down the street and rape somebody." No, this is what they did in the party. And I love what Joe Brown said. Who made you take the drugs? You were wide awake before you went to sleep. Listen to what he said. You
Absolutely.
were wide awake before you went to sleep. Who made you take them? Nobody.
Yeah, if anybody watched the movie Wolf of Wall Street, it gives you a little inside scoop of how the elite party back then. That's back when they had Quaaludes. Quaaludes haven't been around for over the last 20, 30 years.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
kind of went out. So that was a thing that was back then. Nowadays, they have different drugs that they use as party drugs. So they've stepped up their game as far as that. But back then, those Quaaludes would have you out of there, and they outlawed those that they were so bad.
Right.
So
And Quay,
whenever Bill Cosby did that deposition and said, "Yeah, we used these drugs back then," he wasn't saying that he was going out and doping women up so he could rape them. He was saying that, yeah, we would give women these drugs during these party sessions, and we would use them together, and stuff would happen. And those types of drugs, they make your memory, your memory be foggy the next day. If you're on that, and that's not the only drug that you're on, because there was some cocaine with it, there was some drinking with it, there's some weed and whatever else, acid, all of those things that they indulged in all together, and you wake up the next day and you don't remember what you've done, and now you're having regrets 30 years later. But this is still behavior that those ladies continued in after that point. It wasn't like they had that night with Cosby and then after that they stopped partying and stopped living that lifestyle. They
let me show
continued
you.
on living that
Let me show
lifestyle.
you how. Let me show you how deep it is. Let me read some of these comments, and then I'm about to go on something that's going to knock your socks off. Watch this. Common people get prosecuted for the same activities the elites do. All right, let me go down here and
Oh
see
yeah.
what Christy Webster said. They did whatever they wanted and regretted it regretted it years later. It doesn't work that way. All right.
Well, according to the court of law, it does. If they feel like they were violated, no matter what time it was, if it's within the statute of limitations, they can always change their mind and go back and prosecute.
But see, that's the problem, and that's what people don't understand in this country now. Bill Cosby did what was socially accepted, which was a part of the norm. He didn't do anything different than anyone else. As a matter of fact, someone probably turned him onto it. As a matter of fact, you don't know what man got him going. This is a lot deeper than it seems. Let me tell you this story. I know everybody. Let me read Marquina's statement first. To get in the limelight, many were used. Thank you, Marquina. Thank you. After they are seeing the light, so many they now coming out, but people are asking questions. Why? You are 100% right because you had to do what you had to do. Everybody knows about the couch in
Yeah.
Hollywood. That's one of the biggest things. Oh, did you sit on the couch? Now you got
Mhm.
these young rappers who are being turned out by other men.
Yeah.
This is not new, people.
This is not new. Africa Bambaataa was turning them out back in the day. So this is
Yes,
nothing new. And he was the pioneer of hip hop music, one of the pioneers along Cool Herc and Flash now. So the whole hip hop genre started with this type of behavior already intact. So it ain't like
yes,
it just crept into hip hop. It's already been in the hip hop. It was just not accepted back then. But
right.
now they're starting to come out and expose it more because it's more widely accepted in society.
Watch this. Watch this. We all know Oprah Winfrey's story, right? How she was raped and molested by her family members, right?
Yeah.
And she's a victim. Everyone talks about her being a victim. But there's a documentary out right now. You can go find it that tells the tell all of Oprah's adult life and the number of people she slept with. Watch this. In that same vein or arena that Bill Cosby just went to jail. Can I
Because
can I get an
when you
amen?
yeah, but when you've been through sexual assault, you're going to do one or two things. Either you're going to regress from it or you're going to go full throttle into it. And Oprah may have been one of those people who went full throttle into it, but her persona had to be squeaky clean. So she
Right.
had to keep all of that stuff on the low that she was doing. And now that she's retired and she don't have the influence over the masses like she used to, now she backing off and she's able to kind of come out a little bit more with what she's really about. But the image that you was trying to hold, like you were saying the other day, when she had Stedman there, Stedman was just there to throw everybody off track of
Exactly.
what she was really participating in. But we got
Facts.
to understand that this is something that these people do because they have so much resource and so much time and opportunity that like the regular old stuff is no longer a thrill to them. They're always chasing a new thrill, like we stated before.
But somebody said it earlier. That type of stuff will get you in trouble, man. Look at Will Smith and Jada Pinkett sleeping with their kids' friends, man. Hollywood is messed up. That's some major issues. Your kids are messed up. You messed up. Will Smith was still upset that Jada had a relationship with Tupac. They swinging. I'm like, what is wrong with you? So what I'm telling you is, this is the Hollywood standard. Has nine, and nine just hit it on the head. This is why athletes have so many kids because they have so many mistresses. These mistresses are not being raped. They're not forced to do what they're doing. They're doing it to get the economic dollar and to be set for life. It's bigger than this. Bill Cosby, I know, paid some of those women that they never talked about it. And guess what did they do? When he's 80 years old, he got to die anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now watch this. Watch this. We talked about the young lady the other day that used to play on the show with him. I can't remember her name.
Felicia
The
Rashad,
mother, right, Felicia Rashad. Now the other young lady comes out. What was her name? Will Smith's mother, the mother on the Will Smith show. What was her name?
Janet Hubert.
Right now she comes out and say, Felicia, why would you say that? We all know what he was doing back then. Let me ask you a question. Did she just incriminate herself?
She incriminated all of them. Like she
Yes.
said, they all knew what Bill was, just like they knew what everybody else was, because it was a well-known fact that Bill Cosby, Sammy Davis Jr., all of those guys hung out at Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion, and you
Yep.
know what was going down at the
At
Playboy
the
Mansion
Playboy
at any
Mansion. Yes,
given
sir.
time.
Yes,
So
sir.
we're yeah, he had that squeaky clean image, but that's all it was an image. And people get so caught up in the image that they don't realize the capabilities of a person who's hiding behind that image.
Man, did y'all see the video that I did earlier with I don't know if you saw it, that I did with LeBron James and I can't think of her name.
Who
Rachel Nichols.
Rachel Nichols? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Guess what? It's not old. It's still going on. Watch this. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play that video. Now, I want you to watch this video and tell me if you see the same thing is going on. Watch this. After my introduction, you guys know I'm always. Now watch this. Now watch these two gentlemen. Watch Rachel Nichols. Watch her. Did I see what I just see or saw?
Oh yeah, of course.
Did I
That's
see
just
what I
like
just
the hip
saw?
hop industry. In anything, you're gonna have those groupies, and you're gonna have those girls trying to be that mistress on the side that's gonna secure her a nice little stable lifestyle, being your side lady. That whole side chick thing has become a theme, and it's become a lucrative way for some ladies to benefit. And
So
these
then watch.
guys are going to have their outside relationships. Come on, look at Magic Johnson, look at Wilt. Come on, it ain't nothing new. These guys gonna have their side chicks, and if they lady is gonna be with them for the long haul, then they're gonna understand that, and
Wilk
they're
said
going
he
to
slept.
accept that from
Wilk
the men in order to keep their house straight.
Wilk said in his NBA career he slept with over 20,000 women. Magic Johnson said if he was in the elevator by himself, a female didn't even know him, unzipped his pants, and he left the elevator smiling. What was
And
she?
that dude ended up with HIV, and his wife is still with him. Why is that woman still with him? Because she understands. She had some understanding of what her man was when she met him. She understood what the lifestyle that they were going to have was going to bring, and she was willing to accept all of that to secure her life.
Man,
So
let
you
me
got to
read
look
what
past. You,
let me read what
that's just
McQueen.
how that. That's just how that industry is.
Yeah, let me read what McQueen said. These people,
Okay.
the elites, are damaged and take it out on society, and it will keep going. It's never going to stop because, to be honest with you, it's
No.
rooted in satanic worship. Yeah, yeah. Watch it.
Absolutely. Whenever you under that Luciferian mindset and doctrine, then you're gonna reap all of the things that comes with that Luciferian doctrine and everything. It ain't gonna be good. It's gonna be a lot of dark stuff to come with that. And this is what they're starting to see, the end result of what they started.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. But watch this. Let's go even further than this. When the master's mistress went to sleep, he snuck down and sent Bruce down to the other plantation and went into Bruce's black woman. I'm sorry, y'all. Now, if y'all feel that I'm disrespectful, I understand, but I don't want you to leave. I want you to listen to what I'm saying so we can learn from the past. What he did, he got rid of the husband and said there was something about that African American female, her body. She just looked, I'm gonna say this word. He said she just looked like she was good. She just looked like a freak. So look at the understanding and the mindset of men. Those same things have carried on today. But let me go back to that LeBron shot. Did he change his whole demeanor when she touched his leg? Did she grab his hand? My wife would have my, my wife would have went off. I'm telling you. I'm
Oh,
telling you.
absolutely. Who knows what type of conversations they have behind closed doors because they wives see that stuff. They wives know when another woman is feeling a man. My wife pointed out to me all the time, I be oblivious as I don't know what. And
Same
I'm like,
thing,
what
Doc.
is you talking about? A woman knows. And a woman
Yes.
feels that energy and she knows another woman's energy towards
Yes,
her
sir.
man.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd be some conversations going on behind the closed doors about these things that be happening on air.
Oh man, we got some good comments coming on here now, man. Look at this. They all understand. Christy says. Now let's go. We're
Yeah.
gonna keep going down. Let's deal with the people.
That's why I
Nine.
like that show. Do you remember a show called The Game? And it was about football players.
Yes, yes, I did. It told the
The
truth.
reason
That's right.
you told the truth, man, and it really showed what the football wives go through and the
Right.
sacrifices that they made and stuff. And that was something that I really appreciated about that show because people need to understand whenever these guys get out here and they do stuff that embarrass their family, those wives are the ones who hold them down. Their
So,
wives are the ones who do like Hillary did for Bill whenever he got caught up.
so let
You
me
know what I'm
ask a
saying?
question. Let me ask a question then. So are these athletes now who are doing the same thing? Now watch this. It is a double standard because some women are using the turkey basters. You know what I'm saying? It's right. Hey, I want a kid. So guess what? When you go to the bathroom, I got this taken care of, or I go to the bathroom. You but
Hey,
man,
it
this
comes
stuff
with the
is rough.
territory, man. It
Yeah,
comes.
watch.
That's why Levar. That's why when he told his sons what he told them exactly right. No matter how nobody felt about it. Oh, it was too harsh. Why would you tell your sons that and not give them any? Because he's telling them the absolute truth. The
Right.
industry that you work in, you are going to deal with somebody who's going to try to capitalize on you. This is a capitalist system that we live in. Everybody is trying to capitalize on something. You
Oh,
are a product to somebody, and they see that they can make some money off you anyway. They're going to do it. That's why you have people out here that'll jump up in an athlete's face and try to get them to swing on them because they're trying to
facts.
get a quick payday. All of
Facts.
these things happen. People are opportunists, and so that is the truth of the matter. We're gonna have these types of females. They don't care about you being married. They
Facts.
can know your wife personally, but if they think they can get away with it and they can
Facts.
get secure their bag, then that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Because
Watch
we're
this.
not in the same, we don't have the same family values being pushed in our society now that we did back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. The whole family unit has changed.
Man, let me tell you something. I'm gonna get to these comments. Let me read Nine's first because I want to stick on Christie's comment. So let me read Nine. It says, "In rich people's world, no does not exist." You're 100% right. I've seen to where they tell these little rich girls, if you keep getting in trouble, we're gonna take you down to the morgue because you're not listening. Take the kid to the morgue who's an adult, and guess what? Didn't care, still got in trouble because they're
Mm-hmm.
privileged. And when you're privileged, that's what some people have to remember. They allow you to play the game, but you're not privileged. Yes, they will allow you to play the game, but you're not privileged. Whereby, Mr.
Yeah.
Cosby, you got to take your 80-some-year-old butt to jail because you thought you were privileged playing their game. Before I get to the
Well,
next one, go ahead,
uh,
D.
I, our previous president is a prime example of what you just stated.
Facts.
He's the prime example of entitlement and rich people never hearing no and thinking that they are something that they really aren't because people didn't have the courage to say that they weren't.
Right.
People were trying to capitalize off of them, and so they were always yes men and co-signed everything they said. And
Exactly.
now this person has been lied to his whole life, so he's very inadequate. But because he's been lied to, he thinks he's qualified to do this job that he failed at horribly. So is it really Trump's fault, or is it the people around him who never told him no?
Oh, no, 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 no. Trump's people and family told the truth. He had so much political and economic power that he shut them down. Remember, his own niece wrote a book how he said she said he was coming after her. Oh,
But
that
they
was
had no. I'm referring more to the people that's in office and the
oh
people who understand politics and the ones who allowed him to come in and just totally throw everything out of whack.
D, watch this, D. R. Kelly had people going to get the girls, and they knew they were wrong. They knew he had a problem. They knew he was sick. See, this is you think Harvey, what's his name, Weinstein? That's not
Yeah,
new. That's not
no,
new. It's all a
no,
part of it. It's all a part of that narcissistic sexual faction that has lives in that
and,
dark triad. That has to happen. That's why he had to have the windows black. He had to do this. It's a sickness, man. It wasn't about sex.
it
It
is,
was about control, and that's what these
and
Hollywood
the,
types did.
and that's the thing about it because right now. You have another Robert Kelly that's in Chicago sitting right by those same high schools, still at that same McDonald's. He might not have R. Kelly money, he might not
Yep.
have R. Kelly influence, but he knows what it takes to get those little girls out there on the block. R. Kelly wasn't the first one, he got that from somebody.
Facts.
And this is the pattern that's been going on. And until we break the cycle, then it's going to continue. There's always going to be somebody there to replace the last one.
And the thing is, they just want control. That's what it is. Anytime you have to keep using drugs for control, you have a problem.
Yeah.
If you have to go be with someone intimate, well, I guess it is a problem because you're doing it with multiplicity of people, so it has to be a problem. Let me read this comment. Cosby just got sacrificed for the optics, 100%. They are still doing it, and you're right. He was sacrificed, 100%.
And now
Um,
they're doing the same thing to T.I. and his wife.
exactly, exactly. See, because when
T.I.
you sell your soul out, man, let me tell you something, man. That's a bad thing. Watch this. Nine says, money creates illusions and leave people with a nasty reality. Let me tell you a story about me and my wife, and I'm okay with this. All right. So one day, my wife had the carpet clean. So I'm a novice, man. I don't pay attention. I went to work and I came home, right? She had the carpet clean. So this guy and his wife, they were bagging their stuff up and they were leaving. So this dude said something about something. Do you swing or something? I said, no, bro. We ain't got no swings here. At that time, at that time, this was. I said at that time, this is an apartment building. You can go down the street. There's some swings, but ain't no swings here. And my wife said, babe, hold on. What he's asking you, do you want to swing? You take his wife, and he take. Man, that dude here, about. I got blue in the face and went off. You understand? He had to get up on out of there in 3 seconds, or it was going to be a major problem. That's why I said, man, ain't no swings in here, partner. Talking about swing. But guess what? That's the way of the world, man. Nothing is private. Nothing is sacred. It just doesn't matter. Do whatever you want to do, and it's okay. And guess
Well,
what?
that's the whole of the law, right? That's what Aleister Crowley said. Do what thou wilt.
Yes, 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 yes. Man, and again, the reason Bill could say, watch this, now I understand. The reason he says, I'm not gonna sign being a pervert or a sexual predator. I'm not gonna sign doing this. You know why? Because nine and everybody's right. In that dispensation of time or that era of time, it was not wrong. And you're right. It wasn't a sleeping pill. It was Quaaludes. And like you say, I'm a product of the 70s and 80s. Quaaludes was just important as a pig, as weed. If you had some homegrown or some sesame, you needed some Quaaludes and some acid. Same thing.
Exactly. If Quaaludes was here today, then the song would have been Quaaludes Percocet. That's what Future would have been singing about.
Exactly.
Quaaludes was at that level of what they doing the Percocets and all of that stuff for Xanax and stuff nowadays. So Future would have definitely been talking about Quaaludes in one of his songs.
Yep.
That was a prevalent drug at the time, like acid was.
Yeah.
And you still have some of those drugs that are hanging around today, but they're not as prevalent because, through chemistry, they've come up with something stronger and more efficient or whatever. But, these are things that these guys indulged in. And, I said that I don't. I'm not celebrating the fact that somebody got off for sexual assault. That's
Mm-hmm.
not what I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating the fact that they were able to expose the holes in the system and how the system is being manipulated whenever they want to prove a point or they want
Right.
to make an example out of somebody. So I'm
Facts.
glad that the system is being exposed because that's the first step in getting change is
That's right.
acknowledging that there's a problem. So now we see the problem right before our eyes. Bill Cosby sat in jail for 2 years on something that he should have never been
Bogus.
charged for in the first
Bogus.
place.
Yes. And
But
when
they
I
did it to prove a point.
and they knew it. They knew it. And that's what a lot of people say. He shouldn't be out. He was a rapist. He said, no, that's what went on in that particular time and that particular place. That was normal. It was normalcy. I should have went back and pulled up those tapes of those New York when they had the love child sit in and everything that was going on. it would have blew you away that people were walking around in the nude. They would just say, "Hey, how you doing? Okay, let's get busy." It was just that bad. Marquina says that's why everything is on social media. That's right. They are doing it bold face now. You're right. Because why? It's called control. If I can get you to watch it and buy into it, I can control you. Everything now is from a narrative of control. You understand? Even watch this. What did they call it? Oh, clickbait. It's control. I'm gonna put a whole different narrative so you can come on my channel, clickbait, and hey, we're gonna be a part of it. Watch this. Social being driven by the media for destruction. I believe that it's going to be a part of it in the end. Yes, you're right. Now, go ahead, D.
Yeah, because the media is the driving force in America right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's like the newspaper used to be, it's like the news channels used to be, but social media you can get to people a lot quicker at a more personal level without going through all of the red tape. So now we're in a place to where the older people have to understand that this is a new time. They're not going to do things the way that we did when we was coming up.
Facts.
And the younger people have to understand that yes, we're moving into a new era, but there's also things that you can take from the past, even if it's mistakes that we made that you learn from, so that you don't make them in the future. So at some
Facts.
point, we have to bridge this gap and quit having this separatist mindset as far as old and young and stuff like that.
Hey, if you guys would do me a favor, I will not be listening to the jump or watching the jump until Rachel Nichols is gone. And I'm gonna talk about that towards the end. Let me go back and play this.
Okay, but so
So
this
I
you
mean,
read.
the point is,
But
yes,
first,
it's
we didn't, let's talk
horrible
about Bill
when a
Cosby.
woman is
We can talk
done
about the
wrong.
women, but let's talk about Bill Cosby. Let's talk about Bill Cosby for a second, because that's the person we're talking about. My
What did
question
he
was: is
do?
there room to what did he do? Well, according
See what Joe Brown said? Did anybody catch it? He said, "What did Bill Cosby do?" That was the social norm. He's saying we're older. You guys don't know this, but we all know it. And if you listen to Joe Brown, that's all he talks about. Forgive me, sisters, what I'm about to say is tail. At his age, that's all he talks about. And I understand now when I used to be around older men, why are they always talking about that? I'm like, do you talk about anything else? Because that's what they did. Watch this.
gave women pills in one deposition, he
He
specifically
gave
said he
pills.
didn't
He
know
didn't
what.
force it down their throat,
Let me
and he
finish.
didn't take advantage of them.
Well,
Look at that interview Whoopi Goldberg did with that model Johnson. Whoopi got
so
all.
so
Said, wait a minute, you're trying to
hold
tell
on, hold
me
on,
that
hold
when
on, Judge. Let me
you
ask the
found
question.
out you were high, he called the cab, took the elevator down with you, put you in the cab, paid your fare, tipped the man, and sent you home because you were high? So what did he do to
So
you?
in one deposition, so Judge, in one deposition specifically, when he was asked the question, was he sure that the woman was sober enough to consent? He said, "I don't know." But there's a bigger question here: is if someone willingly takes pills and becomes drunk, can they legally consent?
He sounds crazy.
Sometimes you can. Used to be you could. They had a change in there back 25 years ago when they were saying, no, you can't. But before that, basically, you could. That's why they told
Right.
you,
But we're talking
stay
about the law.
sober.
So 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 then, Judge, again,
See,
since you're
the
saying we should appeal
standard
to the
used to
law,
be
if the
if it
law
was
says that you
involuntary
can't be
intoxication, where you did something to them they didn't consent to. See, that's when
right,
that law started changing from you got yourself drunk, you are responsible to no, the bartender's responsible because he lets you get drunk. That's when that
Judge
change started coming
Bill
about.
Cosby's admitting Bill Cosby's admitting to giving women alcohol and pills for the purpose of having sex, and if the law
Most
can't
women I know
consent if
go
you're
drink a
drunk
glass of wine
or
before
high.
out to dinner or you have a party or something. So
Yeah, but
does that
that's
make
not the same.
them
That's
taken
irrelevant,
advantage
Judge.
of because they do something they would have done anyway? A whole lot of them I
Yes.
knew.
Did you hear what he just said? Because they do something with a Donnie anyway. They had names for this stuff. And the young man who's interviewing is too young to understand what he's trying to tell him. If I gave them alcohol and a Donnie, they took it because that was a part of the narrative. Like the rich white ladies, which was called the white lady, was called cocaine because it was a rich man's drug. Do you hear what he's saying, young man? You're too strong, too young. This is what we did in the nature of this industry for us to survive in the world of evil. This is what we did. It's a trip. Go ahead, D.
Bro, I've been in the music industry and I've been a actual musician performing, traveling, doing shows. And the things that I've been exposed to in these parties, these after parties and backstage and all of this stuff will blow your mind. So, I can
No,
see
no, no, it won't.
exactly.
And I tell you why I won't. My son does this thing in Texas called side by side every year, or something like that. And he
Yes,
goes to
South by
Texas.
Southwest in Austin.
South by South, yeah. He goes down to Texas. He's a rapper, so when he goes down there, he just said, "Dad, I never want you to go down with me to do that show because it's just crazy. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yes.
Groupies are everywhere."
The
So
age that we live in now, people are more sexually free to express themselves. Women are more outspoken. They're not all conservative and covered up anymore. In this age we're living in, sex is just out there. And way more than our parents' generation. And I look at it like the way that my parents looked at my generation, like, oh, y'all wild. And then I look at my kids' generation like, y'all are wild. Now my kids are looking at their kids like, oh, y'all are wild. It's gonna continually progress to get more liberal and more free. This is something that's
yes,
already been prophesied. So
it's not gonna stop, man. The days of the woman with the stockings and her skirt down to her ankles is over with. The days with the brothers just wearing decent pants so their print is not showing is over with. But then there has to be some respectability among individualism to where a person takes the narrative and say, "I'm just not gonna do it. I don't care what
yeah,
anybody else do. I'm just not gonna do it." I'm not going to do it. I'm telling you because I know it's right. When I talk to all old dudes who are 70 and 80, that's all they talk about. Now I know Viagra was introduced, but that's all they talk about, man. So you know what that tells me? They're right. Bill Cosby was a part of a trend that was big, and no one knows how to deal with it.
yeah,
Go ahead.
because it wasn't just a thing that covered one ethnic group. That
Facts.
movement was everybody. When you go to Woodstock, you saw
That's it.
everybody
Yes.
at Woodstock. You
Keep
didn't
talking.
just see a group of white people over here and a group of black. No, everybody was together. There was no racial barriers, none of that. So, you know, um, when you come up in that era, yeah, it's certain things that you see in a different light sexually because of the experiences that they had back then and the freedom back then. That's like I went to school with some girls and their parents were still hippies. This was during like the 90s. And their parents were still living that hippie lifestyle, and so they were really free with their children. So when you go back to a Will Smith and his wife, that's what I would relate that more to as like a hippie style of parenting where they give them freedoms that other parents wouldn't because of the structure that we are taught to have for our family. And so they're more
Right.
lean, more lax and all of that stuff, and they're into energies and all of that. So, you know, that's where Will and when I see Will and Jada and how their parenting style is, it's more along those lines.
I want.
And anything
I
outside
want.
of the structure that we was taught as far as parenting, we see it as something strange.
Yeah, I want to bring up about what you're saying to people who didn't know how to be here. This was in New York, and thank you for saying the word D. It was called Woodstock, and this
Hmm.
these particular weeks, however many or however long that was, people with low self-esteem, people with depression, people with problems, they all came together and shared drugs. Not only did they share drugs, and some of your most prominent people in the world were at Woodstock. They shared sex, they shared everything. It didn't care. They took baths together, showers together. It didn't care. It was like the Freedom Child. the expression of who and what they were, they just went crazy. I'm sorry. So guess what? These rappers are not doing anything new. This has been going on. Am I showing you because it's right? Heck no. I have a daughter. I wouldn't want my daughter to part of any of this stuff. But what am I saying? It exists, and Bill Cosby should not have to pay because it exists. He was a part of something that exists. But everyone fights for recognition, so I will climb over you. That's right, to get it. And that's what we used to have when I was an insurance salesman. It was like rejoicing at others' misfortune. I'll do whatever to rejoice at your misfortune, which will become my opportunity. And that's just the way of the world. And individuals will do anything to be somebody. That's why in ministry and church, I used to say, if you notice, the first place that a person seeks to get to in a church or any type of religion is in the front, the pulpit. They want to be the leader. Why? Because it's a level of control. And that's what I'm saying. Life is like that too. And so there was a doctor named Dr. I can't think of his name, but he wanted so much control where he did an in vitro something. So when women can have a baby, this cat went and put all his sperm in all these different women, right? Man,
Yeah, I remember
they
that.
had kids everywhere looking like this dude. It's some sickness in the world, people. And guess what? We have to be about it, basically from an independent perspective. If not, you don't know what's going on. Then there's another teacher who was teaching little kids, taking his semen and putting it in cups and different things. I'm not going to even talk about it. Why? But some, I think what they're doing to Bill Cosby, man, you need to pay for everyone who's done something ignorant. That's what you
But
need to do, Bill.
but see, this is a culture that's been bred into our culture
Right.
because the pedophilia ring is a global thing, and we all have established that the
Facts.
pedophilia is true, it's real, it's happening. And so when these people indulge in this type of stuff and they go to these different parties, they can't just go and do it at the party and then
Facts.
come home and just live their regular life. At some
Yep.
point, they're going to start bringing that behavior into their home, and
Facts.
now it's going to start to become a cancer that affect their whole family and people in their community because they might start sleeping with the neighbor's daughter. It
Right.
spreads like a cancer. So
Be-
this type of behavior, if it's something that's going to continue, and until Hollywood is really serious about stopping it and stopping it on a high level, then it's going to just continue on. They're going
but
to
there's
use
no
these scapegoats just to get everybody to calm down, like a Bill Cosby or Kevin Spacey or whoever else they feel is expendable, just to get everybody to calm down so the other ones can
facts.
keep the smoke off them.
But see, here's the thing: there's no Hollywood. Hollywood is not a face. It's not a person. It's an image. It's a spirit, and everything that has existed in that spirit over those years deal with those same things. Look at some of the movies in the early days, what they made movies about. It'll tell you what they were about and what they did. The same thing as the church back then. You understand? So pedophilia and the rest of that stuff, it's not going to stop because what you do now, you put kids who are runaways and other things, you put them in that position to be self-serving and to take care of themselves. So you give them over to the Harvey Weinstein, the Einstein, whatever his name is. But the thing about that again, D, and that's what I'm gonna talk about, is that Oprah Winfrey and other individuals who say it happened to them were teamed up with him. How can that be, man?
It's called, like I said earlier, either you're going to regress from that type of behavior or you're going to full on indulge in that type of behavior. And that's what she chose to do. She chose to become an accomplice, just like Ghislaine Maxwell became an accomplice to Jeffrey Epstein. How
Right.
they say, how would a woman have the heart to do this to another woman? Ghislaine Maxwell is a prime example of a woman having the heart to do that to another woman.
Facts.
And she's not the only one. You have the Oprahs, the Gales. There's female gatekeepers. And they're
I'm
the
not
ones who
laughing at
say
that.
what
You're
young
right.
girls is good to come into the system.
Yes.
Whenever Cardi B came onto the Housewives show, yeah, she's exactly what we're looking for. She's gonna push that agenda that we want,
Facts.
and she's gonna sell it because she has influence. The girls like her, and that's
Yep.
what they invested in.
Yep.
That's why
Watch
all
this.
them other females hated Cardi.
Watch this, D. Watch this. You're right. And what you said, I want to point out this point. That's why Oprah went over in Africa and got kids that don't nobody know about. Build schools that when they come over here, you don't know nothing about them. You don't know where they're at, who they
Absolutely.
are.
Them
Oprah
girls are
Winfrey,
going to a private school. They're under strict supervision, and they are being used in a sex trafficking ring.
and they're being educated.
That's exactly what is going on. And people don't want to be candid about what's taking place, but it's too late whenever everything is said and done, because the
Facts.
girls that Jeffrey Epstein did that to, it's too late. They've already suffered. They've already went through the struggles and had a damaged life. And now that everything is starting to be exposed, it's still not going to replace the fact that
Facts.
most of their life was damaged because of the experience they went through.
Yep, fact. And then some of them were used now to go out and secure other individuals. Let me read his comments. Marquina said it can't be stopped because the mind is corrupt. Wow. Then nine says when you do it so long, bad behavior becomes a normal behavior in that person's mind. Facts. Now Macrina says these people are so versed in their corrupt mind because they put it out on film. 100%. That's why most marriages, Macrina, don't work from a male perspective. Because that male grows up watching these videos, and when then he gets with his wife, fiance, or a woman, he think he's going to do to her what he's been watching someone else do on a video, and it does not work. You are 100% right. Great point.
Yeah, fantasy. People have made billions and billions of dollars off of fantasy. That's what the
Facts.
whole entire pornography industry is about, because they know that males are very visual, and we're going to
Exactly.
pay for those visuals. So,
Exactly.
once again, going back to this capitalist society, we're going to capitalize on that sex.
Yep. Yep. Guess what? To make that even better, then I'm saying, man, you have a problem. If this doesn't work, buy this or buy that. The whole world is an illusion, man. You have to separate yourself from the illusion. And how do you do that? Sometimes you have just to get away and make sure your circle is right with the right people, even on YouTube, even on Facebook, even on Instagram. I don't want to be popular like that, man, because there's a lot come with that. And I believe it's stressful. I don't want that stress. I'm happy with the little few people and the few numbers that we present. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
what we're trying to do is give good content based on the truth. And I know sometimes and here's the thing that trips me out. Sometimes when people come on, then they'll send me a comment on my DM. Well, how can you guys talk about that? I talk like that. I'm like, wait, what are you saying? When I go on other people's channel and I see you there, they're cussing, going crazy, and you sit there. Oh, you don't want the truth. I got it. That's what
Hmm.
you don't want. You don't want the truth. See, we bring the truth, and that's what individuals don't want the truth. Some people lie to me, keep telling me to lie. I like that. Keep making
Yeah.
me feel good. Keep telling me my hair is beautiful and I'm bald headed. Keep telling me my eyes are amazing and I'm cockeyed. keep, tell, keep telling me my feet are beautiful and I got 5,000 corns. Come on.
Yeah,
Tell
well,
me that.
we're in the age of the cosign. This is the age where everybody wants their ego to be stroked, and they anything that you say that opposes their image of themselves, they're gonna call you a hater. When in reality, you're the one that's really looking out for them and
Yep.
trying to help them to grow. But anybody
Yep.
who sits there and agrees with everything I say, I don't trust that person, because
Exactly. Correct.
nobody's going to just be totally in sync with everything that you think
Right.
like that.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, you have to be wary of stuff like
Say
that.
hi.
Hi.
I go on with my grandson. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Say hey, D Mac.
Hi, DMAC.
All right. Love you,
Uh,
buddy.
The next gen-
I'm finna get off right now. I'm getting off right now. He said, "It's my day, granddad. You gotta spend time with us." Yeah, let me show you this rest of Joe Brown. It's really amazing.
Years with
That's
tent
sexual
drugs,
assault, Judge.
particularly Quaaludes. They did that a lot. I had a lot of female clients I had to get out of messes because they had a fondness for Quaaludes. It's not
Yeah,
cool,
but
but I
it's okay
mean,
to take.
don't you bear any responsibility for this, especially if you keep going
No.
back?
So, Judge, let me. I want to lay this out plainly, just so, and I'll give you a chance to respond. I'll even give you the last word. If you give someone drugs and alcohol, even if they want to take the drugs and alcohol, if they get to a point where they are inebriated, where they are high or drunk, you cannot have sex with them. It is not sex, it becomes rape. And even
What
the
if they
type
That's
of legal
riding
only
me?
the
standard that you're
law
saying
in
we should
certain
appeal to,
states.
What if she drunk but she
That's only the
riding me?
law in certain states. It's
Is that
not for
rape
every
still?
state. And it goes into
you're
this
saying it's
same
rape in some states.
philosophy.
I'm talking about, am I
It
raping
goes
her?
into
Let
this
me finish
same
and then I'll
If
give
thing.
you
the
the
I
last
next
didn't
word.
know
day
I
she
was going to
wake up
get
and
Well,
that
she
let,
punk,
said
so it
that
ain't
she
my
didn't
fault
want
I
to
got
do
a
that,
DUI and kill somebody.
but she was riding me,
How you think that's
would
going to
that be
so,
float?
rape?
right, but the difference is
And
the
plus,
drunk
you
person has a
have people
responsibility to
on
not.
the East Coast who want a
The
new
drunk person has a
category of
responsibility
felony
not to
rape.
get into the
It's
car,
called rape
but
by
the drunk person
seduction.
does not have a
In other words, you
responsibility
take a
not to
woman
give the
out and you
responsibility.
decide to
If
have
we're
a
talking
good
about
meal,
responsibility,
linen,
if we're talking
candlelight,
about
wine, dine.
responsibility,
You go for a walk in the park, my place or yours. Get over there, kissy, kissy, poo, seduction, clothes come off. Everybody has a good time. This crowd wants that to be called
this isn't everybody
felony
isn't having a
rape
good
by
time. One person's
seduction.
being assaulted, right? But what I'm saying, Judge, is, and I
Nobody's,
got to
see,
run.
that's the point. He never admitted to what he did, was accused of, which is
How many people in your courtroom admitted
unlawfully.
to what they did
All
that
he
were
did was
guilty?
they
Do
asked
you say
for it,
that?
I supplied it. They wanted it.
Okay,
That's
this is
like put
just
some
flat out rape
candles
at this
on and
point.
some incense.
And see, that's why it's so important. And we're gonna let everyone go. We're not gonna hold you long. That's why it's very important to have mature, quality people in media. You can't have kids. That's just me. That is just my opinion. Kids are not experienced enough in certain areas to bring these things out and to understand them. Joe Brown were hitting home runs, but this kid, all he could see is rape. He doesn't understand what that group were doing in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He just doesn't get it. Nine says the law versus opinion, and many believe opinion trumps law. I'm not going to say that's true or false, but what this kid does not understand, that was the social norm. Even though there was a law, the lawyers were doing it. It all started at the highest level, which was entertainment. And then, just like anything else, those who are entertainment, they start to do, the social normal people begin to do what the entertainers do. Now you have a problem. AD, are you there?
Yeah.
Want to talk
You hear
some
me?
more this week?
Huh?
You want to talk about this some more this week?
Yeah. We definitely need to break this down because there's a lot into this. Because uh, I don't know if you heard what I was saying in the background, but there was a situation that took place to where a female, she got drunk, the guy was drunk, and she was actually had sex with him, but she was on top of him. And the next day she woke up and she felt regret for what she did. And so she decided to say that he sexually assaulted her, but yet still she was on top of him. So how would that be considered sexual assault?
And see, it's a fine
Just
line,
because she
man.
regretted it.
It's a fine line, man. When you talk about rape and assault, it's a very fine line, man.
Oh
It's
man, my
all
phone
in
died.
all in all. It
Okay.
is it was conflict of interest, and you're 100% conflict of interest.
No.
You know, so no, I think we're gonna come back on everybody. We're gonna deal with this. We're gonna talk about it. We just want you to stay apart, stay connected, be safe. Make sure you pray about your decisions. Do everything right. And first of all, think for yourself. Never allow anyone to think for you. And what I taught my wife and myself taught my daughter: never drink alone or never drink with a man alone or never drink with anyone that you don't know. And if you don't have to, just don't drink at all. Be safe. Be very safe because it is important. Your life hangs in the balance of you making the right choices to do the right things and being safe. All right, that's very important. So, Big J and D Mac, we want to say thank you. All those two who are in the room, those who are apart. If you don't know God, find out who He is. Get to know Him. He wants to know you. I'm sorry, I just have to tell the truth how it was given to me. All right. So, anyone in the room want to have last comments that you want read or talked about on the screen? Go ahead and we'll do that before we get offline. All right. To our moderators, awesome. 9 days, Macrina. Some are not here. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please make sure that you do that. All right. You are very important to us. We want to hear from you and give you the opportunity to dictate what's going to come on the next show. But we'll be back on. Look on if you have. See, this is why I say subscribe to our page because you'll be notified of upcoming shows. All right. So we want to say thank you again. Okay, there's a comment. Yep. So right, Macrina. We want to say thank you again to all those who have tuned in to the show today. Thank you for being a part. You are amazing. You know what I'm going to say right now, right? Be the best, and the best you will become. You've been on with Big J and D Mac. Have an amazing day.